Hey guys, Casey Mitchell here, and some of you guys have had some questions on how to set up your goal calories, your total energy expenditure, or your TEE, and then your calorie deficit. Calorie deficit just basically means how much below your maintenance do you want to take in for calories in order to accomplish the goal. So if you have a 2-pound fat loss goal a week, then that's going to be a certain number. If you have 1 pound, it's going to be another number. If you want more drastic results, it's going to be even lower of a number. Okay, so what I want to do is kind of walk you through what that would look like, and I'm going to share a screen here, and we're going to take a look at my dashboard here. And what you're going to see here is my goal calories of 2628. That's basically my calories that is my maintenance. So I wouldn't lose any weight and I wouldn't gain any weight as long as my activity level stays what I indicated in my profile in the beginning of setting up my program here. For my calories that I'm going to consume in order to accomplish a 1 pound fat loss per week is 2133. Okay, so up here, if you can see this, basically it has the 2628, which is my maintenance, and the 2133, which is my goal, with my deficit. And that's a 495 calorie deficit. So we take 495 times 7, that equals 3,500 calories. There's 3,500 calories roughly in a pound of fat. So that would mean that in 1 week I would lose 1 pound of fat or 1 pound of weight. Okay. Now the challenge becomes is, can you find the balance in that deficit that's going to be right for you in order to have to perform the activities that you want to perform and to be able to have energy throughout the day, so you don't have to pay the piper and essentially have days where you're non-productive. If you're non-productive, then you're going against the grain of what's really necessary or which you're really trying to accomplish with this program, which is feeling healthier, feeling more vibrant, and really thriving in your life and thriving in your workouts. Okay, so there's a sweet spot that you get to play around with until we find that. So you just have to determine if you're looking for very rapid results or you just want consistent results. And we get to play with that on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, depending on what's going on in your life. And we can always see improvements no matter what. Okay, so let's take a look at this. All right, here's my calculator here. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure this out. How would we determine if we're going to be 5-in-1 with enhanced either fat or enhanced protein? And we know we want 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. If we're trying to stay in fat burn, we can't go above that. We prefer not to go above that. There may be a few exceptions to that cause, but we're not going to dive into those today. So let's go ahead and say that we'll put my weight down as 165 and 16% body fat. I have no idea what it is right now, but let's just say 16%. That's going to be 26.4 pounds of body fat on my body, and my lean body mass is 138.6. Okay, now we already know 5-in-1 is going to give me about 100 to 104 grams of protein. So we're already below, or that number is already below where I need to be in order to feel my best, even on 5-in-1. So we're going to need to add 34.6 grams of protein in addition to the regular 5-in-1, just to supply enough building blocks to the muscle and that kind of thing. Now, Amino Boost is going to be a nice protein insurance, and it's going to actually give you the ability to make up to 25 grams of protein within your body without taking in the calories to it. So that's where that also becomes very important. So let's take my 138.6, so I guess we could just say 139 times 4, because we know there's 4 calories in a gram of protein, so that's 556. All right, then we're going to say that my goal is to stay under 100 grams of carbohydrates, so 100, and there's also 4 calories per gram, that's 400. So now we have 556 and 400 for calories, so that's 956. Okay, so now let's take our 2133, which is the goal number of calories for me to stay in my deficit, and subtract that by 956. That gives me 1,177 calories that will be coming from the default, which is fat. Okay, so if I were to take that 1177 divide it by 9, because there's 9 calories in a gram of fat, I have 131 grams of fat that I would need to consume throughout the day. Okay? If you like talking in percentages, we can take a look at what that looks like. We take that 1177 divided by the total number of calories, and that would give us 55%. So 55% coming from fat, 400, which is my carbohydrates, divided by 2133. It's going to be about 19% carbs. And then lastly, the 556, which was coming from protein, divided by 2133, it's going to be about 26% protein. Okay, so those are the macros that I would want to consume in order to feel my best on the 5-in-1. Now, if I take 131 grams of fat to kind of give you a visual of what that would look like, my average serving size or block of fat is 14 grams. And the reason I do that is because there's 14 grams of fat in your tablespoon of your oils. Okay, and I prefer a whole healthy fat versus one that has a combination in it, such as in the beginning when you're first learning your body, going with the pure sources is going to be easier to track. If you start getting into where you can start adding carbohydrates and some other things to see how your body's going to respond, then you might choose avocados, you may choose any of your nuts or your nut butters, because those are going to be combination foods. They have also protein and carbohydrates in addition to just fat. Your oils are going to be essentially just fat, okay? All right, hey, Cindy and Don, I forgot to take my messenger off my phone, so my alerts. All right, so over here, let's take our 131 divided by 14. That's going to be 9.3 servings of those 14 grams of fat. Okay, so basically what that means is that I could have 9 tablespoons of oil throughout the day if I wanted to do that. So I'm going to show you how to put that into your program. Now these calories are high, so you're not going to be that high in fat, but these calories are pretty high considering my activity level and that kind of thing. So those 14-gram blocks of fat could come from like your grass-fed butter, your Irish butter. It's going to come from my MCTs or my grain octane or my XCT, and coconut oil, avocado oil, those types of things. Okay, so let me take this off screen share here. All right, and we can actually get rid of this guy as well. Okay, so hopefully that was a good explanation of how you can go out and do this. So once again, figuring out those calories that you need is going to be important. So your total energy expenditure, you can find that on most sites. You can find it on our Optavia site. You can find it on your Take Shape for Life site. You can also find it on the .fit, and if you plug in your goals into a MyFitnessPal, it's also going to give you your calorie deficit. Okay, that's where you would find that number. And it's going to ask you things like what time do you go to bed, how tall are you, what's your body composition. At least it should ask you your body composition, and that's one of the main reasons why I use the .fit format for that in particular, at least just to get my numbers down. Let's see, where can we go after that? So if we're following a macronutrient plan, and we can figure out the same exact thing. Actually, let me pause for a second because I'm going to get back in. Okay, so now let's set up our next example of going off of just macronutrients and a 30-40-30, which would be 30% carbohydrates, I'm sorry, 40% carbohydrates, 30% protein, and 30% fat. Okay, so how we would do this now is we would take that same 2133 and we'd multiply that by 0.3, which is going to be 30%, and that's going to give us 640. Okay, so 640, and that's 30%, so that would be our protein. All right, let's clear that, and let's go back to our 2133 times 0.4. That's going to give us our carbohydrates. That's going to be 853, and those are calories, carbohydrates. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look. Go ahead and take a look at 2133 times 0.3 for our fat, but this time when we figure out that 640, we're going to divide that one by 9. So let's divide that by 9. That's going to be 71 grams of fat. Our carbohydrates at 853.2 divided by 4 is going to be 213.3 grams of carbohydrates. And then our 640 by 4 is going to be 160 grams of protein. Okay, so hopefully I didn't confuse you there, but we figured out those numbers. Protein and carbohydrates, of course, is going to be your protein and carbohydrates are going to be your 4 calories per gram, and then your fats is going to be your 9. Okay, so then at the end of your day, tracking in your Habits of Health or your MyFitnessPal or your .fit, you're going to have those numbers. You're going to have 160 grams of protein that's going to come up. You're going to have 213 grams of carbohydrates, and you're going to have 71 grams of fat. That's going to put you in a 30-40-30. Now, we talked about adjusting your macronutrients in order to control appetite or slow down absorption, which is going to give you a longer period of time before you get hungry again. You'll do that by increasing your fat and or your protein, or finding ways to increase your fiber and your carbohydrates, or making your carbohydrates as complex as you possibly can. You always want to combine a protein, carbohydrate, and fat with each meal, and then that's basically how you would figure that out throughout the day. So you just make those adjustments as necessary. So as long as at the end of the day, when you're in a macronutrient and you're feeling good, then as long as you hit your 2133, your 2100 calories, you're golden. Protein no longer has a restriction as far as the number of grams you can have. Roughly, we're saying about 1 gram per pound of body weight if you have carbohydrates present, which you have 213 grams available, so that will give you a higher number there. That's it for now. Please, below, if you have questions, just fire questions off. We'll try to get those answered to the best of my ability and make sure that this becomes clear so that you can be very proactive in accomplishing your personal results. Okay?